Shanquella Robinson's parents say she took a trip to Mexico last month with a group of friends. Her friends made it back, but she didn't. They say she was found dead. They were told what happened, but they tell me tonight they're not buying it.
So just as a brief introduction to this story in general, essentially, as they said, there was a woman by the name of Shanquella Robinson who went to Mexico with a group of friends, and within a day, she was tragically murdered by said friends. The story that the friends told her parents, her family, was essentially that she was under the influence so heavily that she died to alcohol poisoning. What they failed, I guess, to think about or consider was the fact that the family would do an autopsy, the family would investigate, and that her body would be discovered with things like bruises and broken bones. So it was later discovered that this was not obviously a case of alcohol poisoning.
She's gonna get justice.
A mystery in Mexico. How did a weekend with friends turn into a nightmare?
Something is not adding up right here.
Bernard and Salamandra Robinson say their daughter, 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, traveled with friends from Charlotte to Cabo, Mexico on October the 28th.
I spoke with her Friday evening. She was having dinner. And I never spoke with her again.
The next day, their world changed.
On Saturday evening, they called and said she wasn't feeling well, and they was gonna call a doctor. But when they called, the doctor hadn't arrived yet, but they said she had alcohol poisoning.
They say they were told their daughter died from alcohol poisoning, but they don't believe that. They say they've heard different stories, and none of them add up.
We received the autopsy report on Thursday, and it said that her neck had been broke, and she had a back spinal cord was cracked. So that took it to a whole nother level.
So as they just stated, this entire incident literally just jumped to another level within the matter of a single day. Like, I'm not really sure what the friends thought they were going to be getting away with here. They called the parents even. You guys have to think about this. They called the parents and tried to make up a story that they were calling for a doctor and they didn't know what was happening, and that she was under the influence and it just passed away due to alcohol poisoning. I just don't see how they wrapped around in their head that they would get away with this. If you called a doctor, if you knew that all of these things would be conducted, if you knew that they would do further investigation into the cause of death and how she died and different things like the bruises, the fact that they found that her spinal cord was either fractured or broken, her neck was broken, I do not see why they thought it was a good idea to pretend like this was something other than a murder.
The U.S. Department of State said, quote, "We are aware of these reports. Protecting the welfare of U.S. citizens overseas is among our top priorities. Out of respect for the privacy of those involved, we have no further comment at this time." Shanquella's body arrived back in Charlotte on Thursday.
She had a heart of gold. She didn't mistreat nobody.
I mean, I can't even be a grandfather. Can't even walk her down the aisle. She gone.
Weeks later, questions remain.
We're not gonna stop until we get to the end of it.
Take it to the bottom of it.
We're gonna get to the end of this.
No, this not gonna happen, you know. No, I've been crying, you know, I'm hurt. I'm hurting all the way around.
And the family tells me they have contacted the FBI in Charlotte to help them figure out what happened. They also say they'll hire a private investigator if it comes to that. Their daughter will be laid to rest next Saturday.
So yeah, this is just obviously a very tragic story. As the news develops, I will probably do another update video on this whole situation. I didn't want to make this video too long. Didn't want to make this video too funny or edit it out too crazy. I just wanted to sort of address this because as the story popped up, it was just stood out to me as very odd how the details don't align whatsoever, and yet the friends are still holding to this stupid story that somehow she was just under the influence of alcohol. And don't get me wrong, I could be wrong here. It could have been, she had alcohol poisoning and she fell from a great distance or something bad happened to her while she was under the influence. But it just doesn't seem to add up to me. Just as an update to what has developed so far, we've actually learned that the FBI is now opening the investigation as a murder, which is, for me, a net positive with this entire case, because from what I was under the impression of from just listening to the story, from reading about it, doing a little bit of research, none of this seemed like it was an accident or a result of alcohol poisoning. So I'm actually very, very happy that the FBI is now looking into this matter as a murder or as a potential homicide. And as the news updates, of course, I will continue to come back to this and change anything that is factually incorrect or maybe that I might have slipped up on. But for now, we just keep waiting for results. Anyways, man, RIP Shanquella Robinson, and hopefully we get some justice out of this. Dreamers, out.